They say every neighborhood has its own sound. In Memphis, Tennessee, Fraser's sound was sirens and cicadas, booming bass from passing cars, and the soft electric click of a phone screen lighting up in the dark behind a rotting wooden house. Some locals called Fraser Murder 8. That's where this story begins. With a boy named Elijah Wilson, 16 years old, brown-skinned, sharp-eyed, and hunched over an iPhone like it was a life raft in deep water. Now I want you to understand something from the start. Elijah wasn't lazy. He wasn't weak. He was absorbed. There's a difference. The modern world had its hooks in him, and it knew exactly where to sink them down deep. His bedroom fitted a single bed and a wardrobe. That was all. Paint peeled from the window frame. The window glass rattled when trucks rolled down the endlessly busy Thomas Street. Elijah had a mattress on the floor. Every night, the glow from TikTok washed over his face. Faster than thought, faster than doubt. Elijah saw dancers and pranksters. There were fakers leering longingly over cars neither they nor their viewers would ever drive. Men with heavy gold chains around their necks waved fists full of cash they couldn't explain. These were the lives that Elijah measured himself against, even though secretly he knew better. Outside that rattling window, Fraser lived up to its reputation. Gangs with names whispered instead of spoken. Corners you didn't slow down at. A crime rate so high it felt like gravity pulling you down, whether you noticed or not. That's why his mama let him stay inside. Hannah Wilson was a good woman living in a hard place. She worked 2 jobs and worried like it was a third. Every time Elijah asked to go play ball at the park, she shook her head. She'd say, "Baby, I can't lose you. Not to a stray bullet, not to some fool's bad decision." So Elijah stayed in. Hannah felt safer knowing where he was. And safety, in Fraser, like other places in Memphis, was another name for love. However, safety can stagnate if you're not careful. At school, Elijah's mind wandered. Teachers talked, but their words floated past him, and he drifted back to the digital world where attention was rewarded instantly. In online games, he competed with kids from suburbs with lawns and silence and fathers who came home at night on time. Sadly, Elijah lost more games than he won, and every loss chipped away at something that lay quiet inside him. He wanted things to be different. His friends, good kids, mostly, moved like a pack. Outrage traveled fast among them. Somebody got disrespected. Everybody got mad. Somebody posted something dumb. Everybody shared it. The tribe mattered more than the truth. Then one afternoon, the world cracked. Hannah came home late from a Save-A-Lot grocery store. The food she'd bought and her purse were gone. Her lip was split. Blood dried at the corner of her mouth. She sat at the kitchen table and cried. Not loud, not dramatic, just tired tears falling silently. Elijah stood there, frozen still. The phone slipped from his hand and hit the floor. For the first time, the screen went dark, and it stayed that way. Elijah had had enough. Something shifted that night. Not all at once, but it was the start. A week later, while scrolling aimlessly, Elijah stumbled onto a YouTube video that didn't look like all the others. No flashy cars, no shouting. Just a calm black man talking about ownership, about systems, and about how poverty wasn't just bad luck. He said it was often bad information passed down like an heirloom no one understood. That video led to another, then another. These influencers talked about leaving what they called the ghetto culture, not by abandoning people, but by abandoning habits. They talked about money like it was learnable, like a language Elijah had never been taught, but could still master. And Elijah, smart as he was, started connecting the dots. He saw how his friends reacted fast, instead of thinking things through. He saw how outrage felt powerful but built nothing. He saw how his phone, the thing he thought was stealing his life, might actually be a tool for good if he turned it around. High school graduation came without celebration. No college acceptance letters, no savings, just reality. In his final year, he had focused on learning as much as he could, but not what they taught at school. He wanted to help people like himself. He wanted them to know what he was learning. So Elijah made a decision. It was the kind that doesn't announce itself with fireworks. It was the kind that whispers, "Try me." He borrowed some money from his mother. Not much, but enough to hurt if he lost it. He built a website in his bedroom, learning as he went. He used AI, not to cheat, but to scale his thinking. With it, he created information on business training and financial advice aimed at young black men like the ones he grew up with, men who'd never been shown a roadmap out. But here's where the twist comes in. Elijah didn't just sell motivation. He sold structure. He built his business on a simple idea he called what, when, and how. What do you offer? When do you offer it? How do you deliver it? He learned it because it focused on bringing in cash fast enough to keep the lights on and the dream alive. The first act was to provide low-cost attractions. Elijah offered to provide workshops for church groups, digital guides for sports clubs, and free training sessions that led to somewhere real. He'd never done it before, but people were tolerant and, more importantly, interested. Next, he focused on drawing in more cash. He offered proper courses, each of which had a start, a middle, and an end. More than that, he talked to people and gave them personal plans to follow, as well as tools to solve the bigger problems that they might face once they had committed. Finally, for those who were fully engaged, he offered memberships, subscriptions, and ongoing mentorship. A community that paid monthly found itself growing with fewer problems and more results. Of course, in the process, Elijah himself grew in knowledge, experience, and confidence. Throughout this tumultuous time, he never dropped his prices. He added value every chance he got. He didn't chase people. He solved real problems for the ones who showed up. At the start, he and his mom were scared. The phone was silent. The email had no messages. The website had few visits. Then, one church invited him back. After his presentation, they could see he was trying, and he was real. So they reached out to another neighboring congregation. That church fellowship invited him in. Over time, a youth center in Jackson called, then Atlanta, then Chicago. 10 years passed, like a good song, fast but meaningful. Elijah became a leader, not the loud kind, the steady kind, the kind people listened to when things got quiet. His mother traveled with him now. She wore tailored dresses and carried herself like someone who knew she belonged anywhere she stood. The bloody split lip was a distant memory. Her fears softened into pride. Everyone now called her Mrs. Wilson. On stage, Elijah would hold up his phone. He'd say, "This thing isn't your enemy. It's your mirror. If all you do is look at other people's lives, you'll forget to build your own." He told young people to open their minds, to look further than their city block. They needed to question what was numbing them. He implored them to understand that if school couldn't hold their attention, then something had to change, and it might be themselves. Near the end of every presentation, he spoke calmly. He said, "You are being dumbed down by something. Figure out what it is, then do something about it." Somewhere in a place like Fraser, a kid would hear that message and just for a moment he would put down his phone. And sometimes that's all it took to change that kid's life forever.